What's going on, you guys? All right, so here we are with another video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you found this one very helpful. So as you can see here, I just pretty much got a flat lay of what we're going to be talking about, and that is tech accessories. Now I know I have some sort of specific accessories right here, but I'm going to try to cover my main accessories that I use for my everyday tech. So let's go ahead and jump right in. So starting with my camera accessories here, I have sort of my main accessories that I use when I'm either going on a trip or just, so again, I want to mention this does not cover everything, but this is just what I find to be needed in my current setup. So we're going to start off with the first item on the left, and then we're going to move to the other items here. All right, so the first item I'm going to talk about is the Ulanzi Tripod. Now this particular tripod here is something I have been using for I think about a year now, and I purchased it just to have a super small tripod that I can put in my EDC bag and just pretty much use whenever I need to vlog or have something that was very lightweight and takes very little space. So this is the one I came across. I did an entire video on it. If you guys want to check that out, as well as the other videos that I will probably mention later in the video, I will leave all those videos in the description for you. But this one right here is something that I found to be pretty useful, and when I came across it, it looked to be in the price point that I was looking for and pretty much had what I was looking for, a small tripod to feature. So I have been using this tripod quite a bit. I even used it at home for a little quick setup to do a short or to do a little video of whatever I needed to do, and it was super quick to set up, and so I've been enjoying it. Now I would say the drawback on it is not quite the strongest tripod out there. So for me, I just wanted something I can use for my APS-C cameras. Now the weights of my cameras vary, but for the most part, I knew that using my Fuji X-T4 was probably going to be a little bit of a challenge. However, it has done its job depending on the lens that I have mounted on my X-T4. However, I will say I definitely wouldn't put too much weight on it, and after testing it, I pretty much try to keep minimum weight on this tripod, and if I need something much more stronger, I have another tripod for that. But I will say again, it's been very useful. I have enjoyed this purchase and haven't regretted the purchase at all. It may not be the best on the market, but it has been a really good purchase for me. And another reason why I picked this one up, because I have used Ulanzi products before, and so far I have enjoyed them, and they have been at an affordable price point, at least for my budget. It also has a very nice design, and the ball head right here, I would say is definitely not the best, but it gets the job done. But with all of that, I kind of made sure I knew the features and what this ball head could withstand. And the last thing I would quickly mention is the color scheme on this one. Now, if you haven't watched my videos before, I tend to bring up the black and red color scheme that I somehow just got into, and I've been enjoying it so far, and it's just been a part of my setup. So I pretty much have a black and red camera setup, and I've just been keeping it like that so far. That's just aesthetic reason, you know, it just works. So for me, it adds a little bit more color to my setup. But yeah, so far so good with using this Ulanzi tripod. The next thing I'm going to talk about is this little small rocket blower, or dust blower right here. It's pretty self-explanatory. So I pretty much carry this when I can, or if I absolutely know I need to carry it with me. It is just a blacked out one that I got with a lens, I believe. And so this one is made by Gear. Just again, something small, lightweight. I use it for blowing off all the dust and lint around my tech. So whether that be my camera right here or my MacBook. I use this a lot on my MacBook because it just somehow attracts quite a bit of lint, and that happened with my MacBook Air as well. So I keep this nearby me because I use it a lot. Next thing I'm going to talk about is this little small microphone. Now this one is by Movo, and it has the wind filter on here, so it is a pretty thick wind filter, but I would say it's decently effective. So of course when I'm out vlogging and there's a lot of wind, I will put this on. If I don't need it and I know what the weather's going to be like for today, I will probably not bring it because it does take up a decent amount of space. And I guess the little hairs on it, it just gets everywhere. So I've minimalized utilize my EDC setup, which I will be filming shortly. And so this is not always needed for me. So when I don't carry that, I just keep it to the microphone and the stand that is on it. Now I purchased a new one that has the double-sided microphones. So that way I don't have to turn the microphone to face me when I'm talking. And so I'm looking forward to using that one. But for now, of course, this is getting the job done. So one drawback for me is this stand. Now it looks pretty cool, again, that black and red set up, but it is fairly weak and I actually broke it. So you can see right here, it is broken. So I don't like that, but it still holds the microphone in place. But I have to be cautious when I'm, taking the microphone off and not, completely break it. I feel like I knew a time was coming for me to break either side here because it's just kind of a weak stand. And this microphone sits in here pretty snug and it has a very tight fit, so it tends to get a little difficult to take it out when I, can't get the wind filter off and I need to just pop the microphone off really quick. But it will snap in place and it for sure stays there. So it tends to be a struggle a little bit with making sure, that I don't completely break this all around. But, here we are. But other than that though, decent microphone. It definitely has gotten the job done for me. I didn't need anything too fancy, so this one is the one I went with, and yeah, has worked so far. And another thing I do appreciate with these type of microphones that has the cord here, it doesn't have to use a battery. So when you turn your camera on, plug it in, you're good to go. You don't have to worry about the battery dying on the microphone. You just focus on the battery in your camera. Other than that, I pretty much like it and excited to use the other one that I purchased. All right, and next I'm going to talk about these two items right here. On the left here, I have my SD card case. Now again, if you have watched my videos, I have talked about this case and how much it has been very useful, and I carry it everywhere with me. It stays in my EDC bag, and yeah, I just love something a little bit more rugged for protecting something that valuable. So this is a JJC hard shell case. It has been super functional for me and it keeps my SD card stored in here. And now I have the regular SD cards and I also have micro SD cards in here. And as you can tell underneath these slots, I can carry additional micro SD cards. I mean, it really gives me a fair amount of space to carry some extra storage. But yeah, I didn't need anything too expensive at the time. And so far so good. It has been working fairly well. The hinges have been, working since day one, and it has a nice audible clamp, so you know that it's locked on there and it stays put. I haven't had any issues so far with this, and I think I'm going on 2 years of having this case and it pretty much still looks like brand new. If you need something that you can carry 2 types of memory cards, this might be a good look. There are other brands out there that has a similar design, and I have enjoyed this quite a bit. And it also is minimum for the amount of storage that you have in this one, so it's been working well for me. And of course, I gotta mention additional batteries. I always carry 2 backup batteries for the camera that I'm using, and this is one of the 2. And this is a aftermarket brand here. This one is by Power Extra. And so these type of batteries are for my Fuji XS10 as well as my Fuji X-T30 Mark II. So I was very happy to already have these batteries from using my SS10. So the same batteries, I can use these interchangeably with those 2 cameras. Of course, as you know, the OEM batteries last a little bit longer, so I try to keep the OEM battery charged, and these are just really for backup, and carrying 2 is kind of a must for me. But other than that, I still save a little bit of money when I purchase these aftermarket ones, so going that route hasn't been too bad for me. And so for the next 2 items, I'm going to talk about this camera rain cover as well as my wrist strap by Peep Design. And so for both of these products, again, I've talked about these in other videos and they are absolute must-haves for me. But I will say lately I haven't carried either of these 2 because if you haven't noticed already, I don't have my Peep Design anchors on my X-T30 Mark II. So I've just been using this camera without it. And that's why I haven't carried my wrist strap Another reason why I haven't carried my wrist strap is because I'm looking to try the sling version from Peep Design. So this is the Slide Lite. And yeah, I just kind of wanted to have more of a, you know, hands-free setup, carrying my camera and I'm out taking photos. So I figured this could be a good option for me. I have checked out other ones. I kind of want to go for a more like a vintage look with having a leather sling strap. So I've looked into those, but this is definitely going to be a test run for me and see how well it works. So I haven't used the Slide Lite yet, but looking forward to checking it out. But I will say, before my minimalistic carry setup, I always carry this with me. And can I carry it now? For sure, yeah. I mean, you see how small it folds down and it wraps around your wrist. It has multiple features, so I can easily put this in my EDC bag and it won't take up hardly any space. Still a must-have for me to have the ability to carry my camera, so I just thought I'd mention it still. Here's the rain cover right here, and again, this is something that I have been carrying for a while. I haven't used my camera in the rain, so I haven't had to carry it as much, or if at all, to be honest, but I have to have this at least in my rotation. But as I mentioned before, it rains a lot where I live, so don't want to be without it at all. Now, the only downside I would say for this is that it is pretty large for the type of cameras that I have. I think this camera rain cover works a little bit better for larger cameras. Because I have small cameras, it just can tend to be a bit much to, you know, adjust and, you know, work with. But overall, it protects my camera, so I don't have to worry about, you know, any rain or debris getting on my camera. Some of you may know the Fuji SS10 and the X-T30 Mark II are not weather sealed like my Fuji X-T4. Even though I've tested those cameras in the rain and haven't had any issues, I wouldn't recommend it for everyone to do, of course. I still like to protect it when it is a pour down. So I haven't tested those cameras in a pour down, but if it's a pour down, this is going on for sure. All right, so here we are to the general tech, or my always using these items right here, as you can see. So as you know, I'm not gonna talk about my MacBook or my iPhone. I do have videos that includes these two main devices right here. However, we're gonna stick to the accessories. So let's go ahead and switch gears here into my other main tech accessories. All right, so let's go ahead and get my AirPods Pro out the way. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing about these, but I just can't help but to bring them up because I use them a lot. I really do. So you may not quite see them as an accessory, but I kind of feel like they kind of fit this category a little bit just because I use them paired up to my iPhone and my MacBook Pro. But enough about the AirPods Pro. You guys already know about these. I've had these for 3 years now. Can you guys believe that? 3 years. That's crazy. They're finally starting to show their age, I will say that, but I'm just not quite ready to get the second generation or get the AirPods 3. I don't know. I'm still trying to decide what I want to do. So that's it. Enough for now, at least, about my AirPods Pro. All right, now if we're not talking about charging accessories, which I feel like I can do an entire video on charging accessories. So again, this is another one that I talked about in other videos, and I'm just gonna, you know, pretty much reiterate its functionality for me, and that is the Magic Trackpad. Some of you who haven't watched my unboxing video of my accessories for my MacBook Pro may be thinking, why do you need this external trackpad? One of the main reasons why is because in one of my MacBook Air videos, I talked about how the trackpad got so grimy, it just started looking really dirty and worn down after using it nearly every single day. And so I didn't want that with this very expensive investment. I wanted to look pristine as long as it could. So that's one of the reasons why I went out and picked up the Magic Trackpad. Now, in my experience, I discovered that it has a little bit more functionality for my workflow and how I set up and tend to use my MacBook. Sometimes it got to be a bit of a cramp to use the trackpad that was built into the MacBook. So I thought having some flexibility added somewhat of an ergonomic feel, and where I can like like move the trackpad around as I'm, you know, either if I'm sitting or laying down, editing, whatever my current position was when using my MacBook, it adds some flexibility. So I'm able to move this around quite a bit and where it fits comfortable. So I would say you might not want to underestimate this investment. You know, it is pricey. It is overpriced. But I, you know, really ultimately don't regret buying it. So if you've been thinking about picking up the Magic Trackpad and you're trying to see, you know, does it make sense if you're using it with your MacBook that has one already built in? At least it does for me. It's been working for me. And then of course, as you know, you can pair it up with your other Apple products. Yeah, I mean, it connects via Bluetooth. So it has that feature to use it with your MacBook. But just to take a look at it right here, as you can see, I use it a lot. I try to keep it decently clean, but not often I'm really having to, you know, clean it. It has saved the internal built-in trackpad of my MacBook Pro just from looking, you know, very grimy or just wearing it down over time. Really, really like this investment. All right, you guys, so that's pretty much gonna wrap it up for me. I hope you found this video helpful, and what are some of the accessories that you may be looking at and what might have some actual usage for you. I previously done a video where I shared all the camera accessories that I purchased, pretty much like a do's and don't video, where I just feel like I overbought when I first got my camera. Yeah, I just accumulated so much that I just generally didn't need or didn't need to buy that much of. So I tried to condense it, and so far this has been working. Of course, you know, a setup is always in the works and possibly changing, but for the most part, this is my absolute main items that I use for my camera, as well as my other tech like my MacBook Pro and my iPhone. Like somewhat of a minimalistic setup that I got going, and I've been enjoying it. It has definitely lightened the load for me. So, you know, please feel free to let me know what you guys carry. You know, if you have a minimalistic carry or if you have a setup where you feel like you have to carry a little bit more. And yeah, you know, I'm always interested to see what you guys feedback you leave me. So you guys already know the drill. Hopefully you consider subscribing as well as giving this video a thumbs up. Hopefully you share this video with someone who may be getting started and has somewhat of a budget for them and they're trying to stick to it. And hopefully this helps you as well as them to understand where you can at least start at. But yeah, with all that being said, as always, I hope to see you in my next video. Peace.